This is my first public speaking, man. I've done like podcasts and just individually speaking to people, but for it's like in front of people like this is my first time.
So she's gonna have this recorded for me and everything?
Yeah,
She's gonna have recorded, okay.
This is my first time.
Well, we're happy with it being your first round.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. It's my first demonstration.
Right there, buddy.
Yeah, there you go.
You're
Sit right
in
there.
the nice place there.
Feel free to sit right there.
I lead it too. And I'm looking at I'm
That's
real
good.
your face.
That's all right.
So I'll be sitting with y'all. Is that okay?
I live right next to the office club, right down there.
All right, I'm glad everybody's here today. Maurice grew up in Arkansas and everything, and he reached out to me a couple months ago. I follow him on Facebook and everything, and I wanted him to come share his story with y'all, you know, and I believe y'all are in for a big treat right before the 4th of July. You come in from California, right, Maurice?
Yep, Los
Y'all are in for a big treat. But it's his story, so I'm gonna let him go ahead and just go away with it.
Born and raised right here in Little Rock, Arkansas, man. Yeah, by neighborhood, College Station, man. Yeah. But my name is Maurice Burnett Ford, and I'm the author of the book 5 Times a Slave: How Childhood Trauma Can Create a Career Criminal.
I'm not in that.
And I named the book 5 Times a Slave because of the 5 times I've been to the ADC, Arkansas Department of Corrections, here in Little Rock, in Arkansas. You know what I'm saying? First time I was 20, from the age of 20 to the age of 37, back and forth 5 different times, man, 5 different charges. Now, I didn't give it that title to sound cool or catchy. I gave it that title because it's my truth, and maybe it's part of yours too. You see, I've lived through addiction, I've lived through incarceration, I've lived through watching the people I love suffer, and I've caused my share of pain too. But most of all, I've lived through deep trauma. Trauma that made me numb, angry, lost, and disconnected from myself. But something happened, something shifted. And that's why I'm here today. Not to tell you what to do, but to tell you what's possible when you learn to switch the channel on your life. Now let me take you back. I was 13 years old when I discovered my father and his friends murdered. Not in the movie, not on the news. I walked to their house. I smelled the blood. I saw my dad's face in the pool of it. And right then, a part of me died too. You see, there is something called ACEs, Adverse Childhood Experiences. That's what psychologists call them. Abuse, neglect, violence in the home, a parent being killed, all those early wounds, they add up. And when you've got a high ACE score, your chances of battling addiction, ending up incarcerated, or even dying early, it shoots way up. See, that trauma would ride my brain before I even had a chance to grow into a man. I didn't heal, I hardened. And what do hardened hearts do? They use, they lash out, they numb, they survive. I was surviving, not living. But now I want to share the full story of that night. This is from chapter 1 of my book, 5 Times a Slave, and I'm gonna invite y'all to walk through it. This is chapter 1. Chapter 1 of my book is entitled Traumatized. Traumatized, subject to lasting shock because of an emotionally disturbing experience of physical injury. If someone is traumatized by an event or situation, it shocks or upsets them very much and may cause them psychological damage. The year was 1994, when not only my life changed, but the lives of my immediate family. Now, this night was no different than any other regular night at our family's home. But this particular night, my oldest brother was out with a friend of the family, which was his high school buddy by the name of Fred. My mother, my little brother, and I were at home with my dad as he was preparing to leave for work to the point of discovery. I remember when my dad left for work, I was so busy into whatever I was watching on TV, I didn't even remember saying goodbye to him. All I remember was hours after my dad left, his job called. My dad worked for Union Pacific. He was a switchman at the railroad. My mom answered the phone, and I didn't think anything about it. But when my mother hung up the phone, she looked at me and said, "Your dad hasn't made it to work." She thought about it for a moment and then said, "He must be at our neighbor's house," and lost track of time. It made sense because his truck was still parked in our drive. My mama said, "Put on your shoes. We're going across the street to Bigelow's house." Now, Bigelow was our neighbor and my dad's friend. Bigelow's father also lived with him. He had to be at least 80 years old. He was blind. I remember seeing him swing on that swinging chair as he drank beers, and he would fall every time. And me being 13 at the time, I would laugh at him. Now, as we walked across the street, I could see my mama getting angry because she was wondering why my dad hadn't gone to work. As we walked up to the door, I remember the living room being dark. I could see Bigelow's dad laying on the floor. I kind of laughed because I thought he was passed out drunk. I didn't notice the gas in his head because it was too dark. When we moved to the bedroom, my whole life changed. When I saw my dad on the floor and his face laying in a pool of blood and his hands in his pockets, I could barely gasp for air. I felt like I was dreaming. He was caught off guard. My dad, my only dad, was gone. Now, as I composed myself enough to look around, I saw Bigelow. He had the most terrifying look on his face, and there was a hole in his head. The stench of the scene filled my nose as I realized everyone was murdered execution style. I could barely make out the words my mom was telling me because I was in a complete shock. She yelled again, and I heard, "Go back outside." She also told me to pray that my dad was still alive. I was 13 years old at the time, and I mustered up every bit of faith in God that I had to start praying that God would save my father. Soon after, a police arrived while we were standing in the yard. He approached the house and asked Mom a few questions. The police then flashed his light through the screen door, which revealed Bigelow's father lying on the floor. Now, after the police went into the house to investigate, he said he's dead and there's a gash in his head. Me and my mother didn't see that when we first entered the house. And even at the age of 13, I knew at that point my dad wasn't alive. The fact that I prayed to who I knew was God at the time and saved my dad, I didn't pray again until years later. I stopped caring. I couldn't stop seeing the image of my dad laying in the pool of blood. That image in my head caused me to say, "Fuck it all." Throughout my life, I committed all kinds of criminal acts. This was the beginning of me becoming a career criminal. Now I say this, I caught my first gun charge the same year before my dad was murdered. My mama told me that dad was chain smoking because he was so worried about his boys being in juvenile hall. And I was so short at 13 and still am. But the juvenile facility wouldn't put me in the barracks with the boys. They put me in the girls' barracks. You know, that's crazy, but most don't understand in the early 90s, it was banging in Little Rock here. And I'm from College Station, Arkansas. It seemed like if you mentioned that anywhere outside of my neighborhood, you had to be prepared for whatever.
Yeah.
My dad was murdered 28 years ago, and I was 13 at the time. 7 years later, I was charged with criminal attempt to commit capital murder of a police officer, and shortly after, I was sentenced to prison at the age of 20. I know the trauma I experienced from discovering my father and his friend's murder execution style had everything to do with my behavior. I promised myself that I'd never commit a senseless killing, but I vowed to try my best not to become a victim. And I would kill to protect my life or the lives of my brothers because I never wanted to feel this much sadness ever again. I also never wanted my mother to grieve over me like she grieved over my father's death. So whenever I felt a threat, I would scrap up. I would have rather gone to prison for possession of a firearm than to be caught without one. But after my dad's murder, I can remember being so sad I wanted to die in order to stop the killing. Now, at the age of 41 at that time, I realized I should have accepted the counseling that my dad's job offered us. But at the time, my attitude was, it wasn't going to bring him back, so what's the use? But one night, I remember I can't remember if it was a dream or a vision I had, but my dad was a Marine, so he was buried in the Veterans Cemetery on Confederate and Roosevelt in Little Rock. So in my dream or vision, I was chilling in the cemetery and my dad was leaning against the fence. Everything was quiet and bright. He only said 3 words. He said, "Don't be sad." At the time, I needed to hear that. I continued to grieve, but I no longer wanted to die. That image in my head wouldn't go away, and to this day, I can see it. I can see clearly that night 28 years ago. That alone turned to anger, and even though I didn't want to die so the pain could ease, I lived life as if I didn't care if I lived or died. It looked that way on the surface, I believe. I believe I would do crazy things to help myself ignore the images of that night out of my head. Even to this day, I really don't understand God. Wow. Let me pick up with my speech, man. I explained in my book 7 years after that moment, I shot at a Little Rock police officer. I was high on PCP. I was out of my mind. And I don't even remember the incident. I read it in my most of the stuff, you know what I'm saying? Then like days later, you know how days later you sober up, you in jail, and it started kind of processing, a little clip started coming from the back of my head. I didn't believe it the first time when I was there. I'm like, nah, man, we got the wrong person, you know. But as I sobered up, I started remembering little clips. I was like, nah, I did it, you know, I did do it. The trauma that nobody helped me heal from, the pain I never talked about, the grief I never knew how to process, that's what had control over me. Until I realized I still had a remote in my hand. Let me break it down for you, the remote analogy. Imagine life is a television and you're stuck watching a channel you hate. It's violent, it's dark, it's depressing, it's the same pain on repeat. But instead of changing the channel, you just sit there because you forget that you've had the remote in your hand the whole time. Family, the remote is your mindset. If you want peace, you gotta change the channel. If you want freedom, you gotta change the channel. If you want healing, connection, purpose, you gotta stop watching the same old channel. It's that simple. Sometimes we throw the remote across the room in frustration. We give up. We think, this is just who I am. That's a lie, and that's a lie trauma told you. That's a lie addiction repeated. That's a lie prison reinforced. You had the remote the whole time. Now I like to ask this question a lot, and I heard it asked a lot. Is addiction a choice? Let's be clear. Addiction is not a choice. Nobody wakes up and says, let me destroy my life today. A psychologist will tell you addiction is a coping mechanism. It's a way your brain tries to manage pain it was never trained to handle. But you know what? It's a choice. Recovery is a choice. Your recovery is your choice. You can choose to face what hurt you instead of running from it. You can choose to sit with discomfort instead of numbing. You can choose to heal. And this is the power of healing visualization. Some of you will walk out of these walls, some of you already have. Some may still have a long road ahead. What I need you to know is this. Freedom starts in the mind before it ever starts in the body. Can you picture yourself clean? Can you see yourself as a mother again, a father, a business owner, a friend who keeps their word? If you can't see it, you will never live it. You must visualize your healing before you realize it. Don't just detox your body, detox your imagination. Stop replaying pain and start projecting purpose. Stop replaying pain and start projecting purpose. I'm not here because I'm better. Not at all, man, not at all. I'm here because I remember what it felt like to want to give up. And I came back to say, if I can switch my mentality to a different channel, so can you. So can all of y'all. If I can do it. I like telling people that all the time, man. If I can know me, basically, you know, if I can do it, man, I know you can do it. That goes with anything in my life. I got out of prison, I got my CDLs, I tell people that all the time. If I can do that, man, anybody can do it. I don't think like I can do more than nobody. If I can change my mentality, if I can stop doing drugs, everybody in here can too, man. And you can stay stopped. You know what I'm saying? You can stay stopped. You are not broken. You are not too far gone. You are not your addiction. You are not your past. You are still holding the remote to your life. And the next time that old channel tries to play again, don't watch it. Change it. You can, y'all can do this or not, I never done it, but you can close your eyes or see, or look in your mind, man, and just picture yourself. Who do you want to be a year from now? Who do you want to be a year from now? Just think about it, man. Who do you want to be a year from now? What does life look like for you a year from now? Now open your eyes, your mental eye, your physical eye, and walk like that person. Speak like that person. Heal like that person. One thought at a time, and one decision at a time. That's important. One thought at a time and one decision at a time. Don't take it too fast, don't take it too far. One thought and one decision. That's all. Because your future is just one channel away, man. Your future is just one channel away. Just keep that in mind. If I can switch my mentality to a different channel, and so can you, and it can be done. And I'm here to tell y'all that I'm here to tell y'all that you can be clean, and you can be sober, and you can be prison free and jail free. You don't never have to walk those same paths you used to walk, man. And I thank y'all for our time, man, and I thank you for the opportunity. Any questions? Sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
in the beginning, was it hard to see who you wanted to be, where you wanted to be here?
Say it again, man.
In the beginning, was it hard for you to see who you wanted to be and where you wanted to be here?
Of course, like it was hard for me to visualize it.
Yeah.
Yes, I talk about this too. It was easy, real easy, when I was in the streets doing drugs, selling drugs, running the streets, to visualize the wrong I wanted to do, right? It was like easy. And it happened like I seen it, you know. So when I got my life together and I started thinking about visualizing things, I started hearing manifest what you want your life to be, it was hard to believe that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was hard to believe I can do it. It was so easy to see me doing wrong, but it was so hard for me to see me doing the right thing. Like, you know, so what I had to do and what I advise you to do is start now, start visualizing the life you want. That's why I connected to imagination, right? Like we used to have, we still have them. Like as a kid, they imagine stuff and that's how they act. Start doing it right now. You don't have to leave here or leave jail or leave prison to start manifesting. Start seeing it in your mind. And I talked about this in my second book. Like athletes do, they see in their mind what they want to do, and that's a form of doing it. Your brain sees that it's no different than you actually doing it. You know, so if you can visualize it in your mind, start now, start seeing your life, what you want your life to be. See yourself working, see yourself having your own place, see yourself having money. Whatever it is you want to do, I guarantee you also put the effort to do it. You know, I also put the effort to do it when you get out of here whenever. I guarantee you, see yourself clean, see yourself sober, see yourself rejecting somebody that offer you something, see yourself doing all these things, and I guarantee you, you will do it because your brain is practicing. Your brain is practicing, you know, and your brain, like I said, don't see nothing any different from you actually doing it. You know, start now.
See, I like what you said about trauma, right? Like I always tell the class, we all done had something happen in our life as a kid,
Right? Adverse
some more
experience.
severe than others, right? So we'll live off of what happened. For me, for instance, my brother drowned when I was 10 years old.
That's
He
trauma.
was 15. So I began to con and manipulate at an early age, you know, like, for instance, 6th grade, I wanted 2 spring breaks. I went to private schools. So I said, Mom, I don't want to go to school. I want to go hang out at the boys club in the public school. So see, all that started way before I ever took a drink or a drug.
Yep.
Trauma is is what we try to numb ourselves.
Yep.
Trauma, low self-esteem, depression, things of that nature, the list goes on. Those are the things that we suffer really from. You know, we
Of
turn to
course.
drugs,
Yeah.
alcohol, money, whatever.
Yeah.
The lifestyle, you know.
Yeah.
But I always say, this last thing I'm gonna say, victim mentality, we can hang on to it for so long, right? We'll hang on to that over and over in our mind. But really, you got one chance to say I'm a victim. After that, you're a volunteer to that.
Yep.
It's sad, it's so
Yep.
easy
Yep.
that we'll volunteer ourselves to that. That
That's
victim role, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But it really, it's only one time, and after that, we volunteer. ourselves.
Yeah, the rest of
You
it's
know,
up to you.
the rest of it, yeah, it's up to us. Yeah,
the
thank you.
recovery is up to you, man.
Yeah.
What really helped you going through the trauma with your dad at an early age?
Man, what helped me? I didn't do nothing about it, man, for years. Like in this book, I'm from the age of 13 to the age of 37. I've been back and forth to prison 5 different times. I really didn't do nothing about it. You know, I didn't accept the therapy that my dad job offered because I didn't understand that therapy is not to change anything. But at 13, you don't know nothing about therapy. What it's for? It's to help you process those feelings. I know that now, but like I didn't know it then. My mama didn't know that she was going through something too. She seen the same thing I seen. So ain't no way she could have like told me, you know, to make me do it. But I believe I did a lot of work on myself in prison. I took prison as an opportunity to, like a university, I would call it, get my life, get my mind together, my body together, my spiritual life together. You know, I looked at it like that. You know, I tried to make the best out of the situation. I did a lot of looking at myself in the mirror as well in prison. Like, you know, away from all the distractions in the world, because you don't have those distractions in prison. And I looked toward myself, like, you know, okay, look, I know what I be doing. You know what I'm saying? I know I get out of prison. Been 5 times. I know I get out of prison for a couple months. I do good. Then I go right back into what I was doing. I know that it's a pattern. So what you gonna do different this time? You know what you gonna do different this time? Obviously, you gonna follow that same pattern, or what you gonna do? You know, so that's basically what I did to myself. I'm not gonna say I self-healed myself or nothing like that, man. But I just reflected. Because I think everybody, we all know what we're doing. You know, we all know the choices we made. I used to tell people coming out of prison, coming back to prison, like, oh man, I'm like, bro, you knew what you were gonna do before you left here. In the back of your mind, you knew that you was gonna get high or do this or do that. You knew that. You might have said you clean, but in the back of your mind, you knew that you would do it if the opportunity presented itself. You know what I'm saying? You know that. Like this time I got out, I knew that regardless of what, I'm not gonna do no drugs, sell no drugs, commit no crime, and I haven't done that. And I had no problem out of nothing. Done nothing. I knew that in the back of my mind this time. I didn't really mention it to nobody. I just had my mind made up and knew what I was gonna do. I told my mama 100 times I'm through. But this time I ain't really say nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yeah, I'm through. I know him. You know.
So your job you have now, truck driver, right?
Mhm.
So you go all over the.
Yeah, since I've been driving trucks since 2019, I've been all over the world. Basically, probably places I haven't been. Like I never drove into Canada, Maine. You know what I'm saying? But I've been pretty much everywhere else. New York, everywhere, Illinois. But right now I'm with JB Hunts, and I drive from California to Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm in Arizona all week, and I come back for the weekend. California, LA. I live in LA.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, you live in LA, it
I
must be
live in
fun.
LA.
Santa Monica
So
Mountain.
She
fun.
got me out there, man.
Thank God for
a good woman, huh, bro?
Of course, of course.
I mean, I've been in prison about 13 times.
Really?
Yeah, really. And every time it's like you said, we tell our family we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do that. And I didn't hear it like maybe about a year ago. I didn't realize that it was a certain time of the year, every year, that I would relapse. And my parole officer brought it to my attention. He's like, every year, around the same time of the year, you relapse.
Yep.
And he brought it to my attention, and it dawned on me that the cause of that was due to my first child's father. The stuff that he had put me through and done
Really?
was around those times that I was relapsing. Like those were like some of the real dramatic things that I went through in life, and he's passed away. I mean, he didn't pass away. He killed himself. I don't say he messed up, but thank God. So it's easy, but it's not easy. If that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe have you ever, excuse me, you have the ability, like you said, it's a pattern, you kind of relapse, but you told me why, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's something deeper than I can even give you advice on as far as that go. But like, have you ever tried to talk to somebody professional person that knows about, you know, psychology and, you know, where that event is taking your mind to?
I'm not one to really.
I know, I wouldn't either, but like, it's nothing wrong with it. It's I tell you like this, try it. You don't have to commit to it, try it. And also another thing I learned too, if that person, you don't feel like you clicking with that person, talk to them, get another one. Until somebody feels comfortable, you know, when you feel comfortable talking to that person, you know what I'm saying? I tried it myself, you know what I'm saying? I didn't keep going, but I tried it myself, you know what I'm saying? So I tried.
I tried it like once, and then when they said, well, I felt like it was a pity thing because they were like, you've been through that, you know what I mean? And I was like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it made me feel some type of way because, I don't know, I feel like they were knowing too much about me, or knowing like some of my.
That's normal, cause I feel like I was talking to the police, so I didn't want to do that. Like, man, that's too much information. I was very quiet, like I ain't got nothing to say, you know what I'm saying? But it's just try it again. That's what I advise you. Try it again. And no, you're not talking too much. You're not talking to the police and nothing. You're talking to a professional person. They can't share your information.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
laws
saying?
on that.
Yeah, they can't.
One thing I've learned is the subconscious brain knows everything is fact. Like, and it gets programmed in subtle ways. We experience something, and our body, in a subtle level, is I found relief from that. That's how we become addicts. Like when you hold your breath, you will pass out and start breathing. It is an involuntary action of the part of your brain that controls that, also controls a lot of our behaviors that we don't realize that we can't control. The ones that because we have programmed lives into that area of program, like our RAM, you know, up there, or that it is just there. And it takes time and a process to reprogram that, unlearn those behaviors, to stop those habits. And one of the things that our self-defense mechanism is, we want to be opposed because we've been through trauma, we've been hurt. So anything that is foreign to us is frightening and scary because it came on us so fast, we went through. And it got programmed into that part of your brain, and all it knows is, this makes me feel better, and if I do anything other than this, I might experience that pain again. And unlearning that, it literally takes a willingness and an openness to talk to professionals. Hypnosis and other things can allow you to explore those parts of your psyche. The things that we're unconsciously thinking about all day. So many thoughts race in my head, and I can remember them all at the end of the day. But so many things go through there, and most of it's just like file 13, throw that out there, I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna do that, we ain't gonna do that. But the thing is, when I'm feeling pain and hurt, something can happen and allow me to go into autopilot mode, just like when you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you realize you went 2 miles, and you don't know how you got there. That is when your subconscious mind is taking over. It knows fact, it knows present tense only. And believe it or not, getting high makes you feel better. At that moment. At that moment, the pain, emotional pain you're going through, you feel better, the relief, or you wouldn't be doing it. Okay, the brain is only trying to protect itself from pain, and it has found something that works, and it's going to keep going back to it until it's reprogrammed. That said, like you said, being uncomfortable in those chairs, it really struck a nerve with me that I get in those positions. And the thing is, the demons that we know, that we already can deal with, we know we can survive, we will face them over and over again out of fear of finding an angel that would relieve us. It could be one in disguise that will put us into that mode where we're open and susceptible. We were just trying to protect ourselves. So give yourself a break and allow yourself to understand that you don't understand.
That's deep.
I understand. I've had to learn this the hard way. I had to go back out there and allow myself to get tricked into mentalities because I want to help other people. Because it's so much easier to fix your problem because I can see it. My problem is down in that level that, the worst neighborhood, I walked to Dixie at 3 o'clock in the morning back in the 90s to get my crack. Okay, I went over to College Station all day or night. I walk up there, wide ass, just like, and talking redneck and everything, like, and I don't fear nobody. I fear the fear of being a coward, you know what I'm saying? So and how I made it 51, I don't know, but I do know this, but if I'm gonna make it to 52, something's gotta change. And what I'm gonna have to do is allow myself to accept that I don't have the answers. And whatever I'm probably thinking is right is based upon a program flaw in my subconscious that is allowing me to protect myself from things that aren't even real. Perceived dangers. That's all I got.
That's deep, bro. That's
I'm just saying, give yourself a break. It's okay. It's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to allow yourself to stew in it. You gotta you gotta ask for help, and you're not gonna find it. There's things you say, oh, help me. And they ain't listening, they ain't paying attention, and even ones that do, they still don't get it.
Yeah.
The point is, there is the thing that made you, that made all of this, does. And we have to walk it a little bit. Like we have to prove, like he's not buying my bullshit. I'm gonna say, all right, okay, God, he ain't buying it because he already knows better. He has to reprogram and undo all this damage I've done, and it took a while to make me. It's gonna take a little while to fix me.
But Trini, you know why they let you come up in there? Because you're their money.
Oh yeah, and also, I ain't talking. I'm telling you, I will keep your secret. I will tell on myself, and when it's time, I will lie to protect you. But that's just the way I was raised. Just, never mind.
Trauma rewires your brain, though. You miss it.
Yeah, he's right.
I'm as messed up as the next guy. But you know what? Don't judge me for it.
He is right.
Let me-
Look, sobriety is the scariest thing I've ever put myself into. I mean, I spent 35 years in addiction and 4 times in prison, okay? But the thought of getting clean and staying that way scared the hell out of me. It still scares me, okay? I got 4 months clean today.
There
Amen.
you go. There you go.
I'm proud of every second of that sobriety, you know? But it scares me because I spent so long being high. I didn't know how to be sober, you know? I never thought I could.
Yeah.
But we're doing it, you know?
4 months strong.
But
Amen.
if you want it, you gotta be willing to face the fear of taking it.
Yeah.
You have to
Right
take it.
there.
It is not given to you. You have to take it. It's like, you just gotta take it. I mean,
Too much confidential
It's
competition out there saying, hey,
easy to be
here.
high. It's easy to be high. But
You
it's
can go
hard
do
as
this.
hell to be clean sometimes. And it's,
Or you can leave it alone and walk
if
away.
you spent that long in addiction, you have to change every single thing about your life. Everything. Nothing's the same. You can't be around the same people. You can't do the same things. You can't think the same things. And you can't eat the same thing, pretty much, you know?
Anything you associate with it.
Everything is different. It's like,
Change that channel.
it's like being
Change that
reborn.
Change that channel. I love it.
You got the remote. The remote is your mentality.
Right.
Amen.
Better change it to a
But
YouTube channel, is all I
It
can
really
tell
is.
you.
It
Yeah.
really is
None of us
like
gonna stay
being
clean.
reborn. So
Amen.
you might as well put God in there with it.
Where can we buy your book at?
My book is available on Amazon and my website, 5timeslave.com. You can get autographed copies at 5timeslave.com, but on Amazon it's Kindle audio book. My new book is out as well. It's called 5 Times a Slave: The Death and Resurrection of Maurice Burnett Ford, and this more on my transformation.
Well, I gotta
Things
read
she
first
mentioned-
one for it.
You gotta read first one, yeah. Things he mentioned, and I talk about that in my second book. It's crazy. Yeah, but I talk about staying clean, staying this way. You know what I'm saying? Keeping this mentality. What I've done and what I faced, and the whole chapter on staying this way. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And it's available on Amazon as well. And then I had some autographed copies on my website of my new book next week.
Amen.
I wanna give you one, cause hey bro, you gonna do big things with that book.
Thank you.
And you got a hell of a testimony that, I'm gonna tell you something, I would've never made it.
Yeah,
I lost my dad at a young age, but not near as young as you did, and I
Right.
got to see what you're seeing. But my
Yeah.
dad died in my living room, and I'm gonna tell you something, I wanted to give up.
I feel you.
Hell with it. You know what I mean?
I
And
understand.
People that has never lost a man like that, they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Yep,
They
you're
really
right.
don't. Because let me tell you something, I would've just soon just walked outside. I mean, you know,
Next.
I'd have done the same thing you did.
I didn't try, but I put it like this. I live life to like I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I live life like I ain't gonna do it, but you do it. You know what I'm saying? I live life like that. Like doing things to people, crossing people, you know what I'm saying? Taking chances after chance. You know, I wouldn't do it myself. Like I live life as I wanted somebody else to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
But look what you come out to be now. You know what I'm saying? And it's an inspiration to hear somebody like you that's been what you've been through. It's an inspiration for me to hear
Thank you.
your story.
That's all I want to do,
You know
man.
what I'm saying,
Inspire,
bro?
let
Hey,
people like you
changed
know
your life.
it can be done. That's all I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Let people like y'all know y'all can fight.
I got a question. Oh, sorry.
Let me get her, then I got you.
What I was gonna say, I was gonna piggyback off of this gentleman talking about going and speaking to somebody about their trauma. That's uncomfortable. Because it's trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the bad things that you've gone through, and when you start to talk about those things, it's gonna be uncomfortable. But when you go in and you have surgery to have something fixed in your body, you hurt first before you get well. So it's the same thing when you're dealing with mental health. You're gonna hurt, because it hurts.
You gotta do them uncomfortable things, though. if you
And
want
but
change.
you have to be uncomfortable first before you can get well.
That's true.
And it hurts physically when you have surgery, or mentally when you have to go and speak about these uncomfortable things. Because if they were comfortable, we wouldn't be in this situation.
It'd be easy for us to do it. Here we go.
First of all, I wanna thank you for being an advocate for mental health and being of color, because in our community, it's stigmatized.
Wow.
So thank you for that. I've been in therapy for the past 3 years now, and I don't think that I would've came back here this time if I didn't have that. I would've stayed where I was going, doing drugs again. But to you, I go to a therapist who does neurofeedback therapy, and you don't have to talk. She hooks you up to a machine, and you listen to these sounds, and it literally does the rewiring of your brain for you. So you don't have to, initially first start off talking about those heavy situations that you're trying to heal from. It heals your brain, and then when you get comfortable enough to talk to her, she'll sit down and she'll do the CBT and the DBT with you. So that's also an alternative to just going and talking to somebody if you're afraid to, because I was. So I found that, and it helped me a lot, because it does the rewiring for you.
You gotta get the
It's
information.
not that I'm afraid to, it's just the fact that to the extent of the stuff that I've been through
With your eyes
is,
and movement, but in my therapy, I'm just in a quiet for a minute.
like, I stayed high out of fear. I didn't want to sleep, I didn't want to be caught sleeping or anything, so I stayed high out of fear. Now that he's no longer around, and, I'm not tortured in my dreams, it's like, I don't know what I'm running from now, and, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have a reason to be getting high. I don't want to get high, but I feel like if I stop getting high, then maybe the night terrors will come back, or the flashback will come back. You know what I mean? It's like it'll come
That's the
either
fears you talking
again.
about. Yeah.
So,
Not denied, yeah. Be courageous, you know what I'm saying? Be courageous, and that's what I would tell you, and see what's on the other side. You know, you say you're afraid of not getting high, what something might come back. Be courageous and see what's on the other side. You know?
Seek
That's
God
what I-
first.
And dreams aren't always what you're dreaming, isn't always about what you think it is. Dreams are, I interpret the book. Anyways, dreams are about symbols. So it's not what you dream, it's about the symbolism it's showing you. And usually when you're running from something in your dreams, it means that you're running from yourself.
Wow. That's deep.
That's just what it says.
Yeah.
So, I got to walk out, right? But did you ever did y'all ever figure out who did this to your father and them?
It went, well, 2 people was charged, but you know how it go. Charges was dropped later, and that's how it went. Yep. Charges
Never
was
found
dropped.
out why it happened or anything?
Nah.
So, because my dad,
My dad was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what we do know. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We do know they didn't come for him. They came for his friends, and he was
Okay.
just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
see, my dad knew something was gonna happen to him before it did. I mean, and I remember we were headed to Little Rock to get fence material, and he told me he was gonna have to go away for a little while. I said, what are you talking about? I'm going with you. Like, yeah, I mean, I was young, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he didn't really say too much, and I didn't figure it out until years later. He knew what was about to happen. He was either about to run from it to keep us safe, or face it. Either way, but he ended up getting killed in the hospital. You know what I mean? And we were gonna do the autopsy, different things like this, and then this guy dropped off a letter on our doorstep that said, "I have eyes and ears everywhere. You don't want to do that. You know what I mean? You don't want to." So my brothers and I got together and decided, you know, this guy was so powerful that he would have came back and killed our children and us. So we didn't do anything about it and let it go. All these years I've had to let it go, that this man did this to my father. You know what I mean? And then for years I was so angry, I wanted to go find him and kill him. You know what I'm saying? And it's so much of life, so many of the things that I went through, I think I was just covering up. I don't know, I think I was running from, I guess, the fear of him, plus being so angry. I don't even know, I guess I can't even really explain what I'm talking about, but when you were saying that, I didn't want to walk out. I wanted to hear the story because, I mean, as I can't relate to going in and finding him that way, but I can relate to what you were feeling.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anger, everything.
Anger and pain, yeah.
Yeah.
And you never ever wanted to feel that
Being
way
young.
again. And I was so
Yeah.
confused. I was so young. I was so confused. I was 17.
Not being able to do nothing
And,
about it.
yeah, you know what I mean? And I felt so powerless. And I never wanted to feel powerless again. So when I felt the power of selling drugs and using drugs, you know that power feeling that you get when you put something in you, you feel like you're invincible, you know, and then boom, you start selling pounds of drugs and different things, and you feel like you're on top of the world and can't nobody stop you, and you know what I mean? You got all the power because you got what everybody wants. It made me feel like for once now I finally got power somehow, you know what I mean? Because I can use this drug to make him go kill her or go, you know, hurt her or go do this or go do that, you know what I mean? Because I can have you out there shining my wheels for a bump. You know what I'm saying? I had power.
Fix this car.
You know, and at that time I didn't feel like I had power, and there was something in me that changed it, that craved for that power so bad that turned evil in me. You know.
So, okay, what if like you have these moments where you're okay, and then all of a sudden you mess up, but you react before thinking, and then you don't really know why. But you can have all the heart, the effort, and the will to not want to do it, but it's like a battle within your mind and your, but you can't really answer why you really do it, just out of a spur. You know what I mean? Like, even though you don't want to, but you do. But it's like your mind and your heart's like, it's like your mind weakens you even though you have strength from within, but you don't know why you're doing it, just these further moments.
I've been there. Yeah.
Like,
I've been
Come back,
there.
that's what you do. Come back.
I've been there. I even I talk about this in my second book. I even sabotage myself. I've done it a lot out there. You know what I'm saying? I would look for reasons. I'd be clean. I look for reasons to get high. Like, man, I hope she break over me. I hope this happened. Or I
not
hope
like,
something. You know?
not like really looking for reasons. Like everything, like your surroundings can like weaken you, but at the same time you can still feel strong in that. And you're like, no, but then something comes about and you just do it without thinking, and you don't have a want to, but you just do it, and then you don't know why. I don't know.
This is the advice I can give, because I know everybody go through different things, different ways and quit different ways. You're in the right place, so I would say I give myself time away from it. You know, time away from it, away from all the distractions, away from even your environment, if you can, if it's possible. You know, to get your mind together, get your mind strong enough to resist those things, no matter what situation you're in. Even if you give yourself time here away from it, you can go back into the environment and still resist it if you have to. If you don't have to, I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep giving yourself time.
But what would that be considered? Like, because you know you have the heart and effort and the want to not want to, but then you just do it, and then like your mind weakens the strength within you.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
And I'll say,
Yeah, we got you.
for me, there's always something in the middle. There's always something in between the external event and the action, and that's the emotion. So even though you may not have a thought or an action there, there's an emotion that's laying there.
That's good.
So there's an external event that happens, whether you register it or not. There's an emotion and there's a reaction. And it's inside of that emotion that feels the need or triggers the need to use the numb again.
Identify that emotion.
And I can survive all day long. Survival is comfortable for me. And I would continuously keep myself in these cycles where I would place myself in a position to have the external event, the emotion, and the reaction. And so like self-care for me is, it comes inside of discipline. It comes inside of doing the next right thing, one thing at a time, and preventing myself from being in an environment where I'm triggered into that emotion and that reaction. Like, go pick my kid up at the time I said I would. Because self-esteem comes from esteemable acts. Go pick my kid up when I said I would. Pay my bill. Show up even when I don't want to.
But what if you don't really feel that trigger within you? You know what I mean?
That's right. There's something there. Pay attention.
It is though. Like she said,
It's there.
it's right in the middle. It's an emotion
It's
thing.
there.
You gotta identify what emotion you feeling
But
at that time.
it's so
that you go.
you're
You don't
identifying
want to, but you do
the
it.
event and the reaction. Pay attention to the emotion. It's there.
It is there.
I promise it's there.
She said that. That's
And how do you
perfect.
identify it? How do you start to begin to?
Maybe she got some insight.
So, like, I resonated with the gentleman that was here. Okay, so what he was saying about our subconscious, that's so true. It's 100% true. And that what you're feeling, like when you're saying that you don't want to do it, but your body's going towards it, that's your subconscious taking over. Because for all this time, your subconscious has been leading you that way. That feeling, those urges are all from your subconscious. So at that point, you're like a zombie and your subconscious is taking over. That's why when you don't want to do it, you do it.
Right.
So at that moment, just like with anything that's a habit, your subconscious is taking over. So your conscious mind, so you have your subconscious, and you have your conscious mind. Your conscious mind has to tell your subconscious no. You have to verbally say it out of our mouth. Our words are so important. You know, powerful. Just like God spoke this universe into existence. Like your conscious mind has to speak what you want into existence. Like you have to physically tell yourself no, because your subconscious is like a little baby. It's like a child. You know, like a child want candy. You're like, no, you can't have it, but I want it. You tell you, no, you're not having it right now. You're not, no. So you have to do the same thing with your subconscious. When you feel, if you can catch on, because that's the thing, you have to be able to catch on that, oh, my subconscious is trying to take over. You have to consciously say, no, we're not doing that. We're doing this.
Amen.
So verbally out of your mouth, say, no, we're not doing that. This is what I'm going to get ready to do, and do something else that you love to do. What do you love to do? Do you like drawing? Do you like?
I guess I'm kind of still learning that.
You're still, and that's okay.
I don't think I really know me. So
And-
it's just like a battle to my mind, my inner whatever.
Mhm.
Just react without thinking, and then I regret it, but I don't really have an answer why I done it, because I know I don't want it, and I know I have the heart to not do it, but then I'm like, damn, why did I do that? Or like, and it's just like a brick wall, like inner and outer.
Yeah, because your subconscious has been leading you the whole time. And consciously you've been tucked away. So now you have to get to know you at this age, at where you are. So that's why you're like a baby right now. So now you have to learn, just like kids, they don't always know what they like. At 13 years old, my son just started playing piano and guitar and all that. He didn't know he knew how to play that before. He just picked it up and started playing. So you have to expose yourself to a lot of different things so that you can see what you love. Because everybody in here has some type of talent and something that they can do. So you have to find out, yes, so you have to find out, try different things and see what you like so that you can learn yourself. So once you start learning yourself, then that's gonna make you feel good. You're gonna put so much energy into that where you're not even thinking about what your subconscious is thinking about. And after a while, like your subconscious is here controlling you like a puppet. But as your conscious mind start taking over, your conscious mind is gonna start controlling you are gonna start controlling your own self. And that's how it's gonna start small, but after a while, it's gonna get easier and easier. That's why the more people, the longer you stay clean. And I know things happen, and that's okay. It's okay when you mess up, because guess what? Every time you get yourself right, that's gonna be another opportunity for your conscious mind to take over more. You're gonna be doing so many things. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I did not even believe, like 5 years ago, I never saw myself here.
Shit, last week.
You know what I'm saying? But that's where it starts. You know, and every day should be congratulated that your conscious mind is clear, it's here.
That's right.
You know, but it's one step at a time. It's not don't beat yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's part of learning. Just like kids, they're gonna make mistakes. You know, your subconscious doesn't understand. Your subconscious don't know, well, why I gotta stop this. Your subconscious mind don't know why, but your conscious mind do.
Think about it this way: your subconscious is your devil.
Yeah, it's like a baby.
When you get to earth, you use,
So think about that
Pray about
every day.
God will
Your
show
subconscious is your
what
devil.
to do, so you don't go get high.
But no, your subconscious mind is not. It's not a devil. It's not a devil. It just doesn't understand. Your subconscious mind doesn't know about reasoning. It doesn't know about the consequences or any of that stuff. It only wants what it wants when it wants it, and it doesn't matter about whatever you gotta go through. It's not thinking about that. It's only thinking about what it wants. But you know consciously what the consequences are. So you have to write all this stuff down. You know, write it down, because when you start struggling, look at that stuff. And everything that you want to do, write it down in detail. Cause then that's when he's talking about manifesting, write everything that you want down to like the color, everything. When you visualize everything, write it down, because now you've said it, you say it, write it down on paper, and then you go back to that, because that's what you want in your conscious mind.
See yourself doing it in your conscious mind. You don't believe it, see yourself doing it.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah. Even if you can't see yourself doing it right now, see it in your mind. Even if you're not doing it right now, still see it in your mind. And writing it down is like, that's even a different level. That's perfect.
That's part of manifesting. Yeah.
They say
I'm
that
sorry,
whenever you're traumatized as a child, your subconscious mind is stuck at that age.
It's stuck.
So it literally does not grow with you.
You rewires your mind. You rewires your brain. Trauma.
Hey, man, you know something else? I know the future too. I'm grateful for teachable moments, because I was always told to remain teachable.
That's right.
And I've learned a lot today. I'm going to remain teachable the
Real talk.
rest of my life. because-
We don't learn that when
Oh, yeah. So,
I wanna know what you're supposed to do when you can't like identify with it. I mean, I grew up baseball and apple pie, you hear me? I mean, I've had a charmed little life, you know, from perfect parents. My dad also was a railroad man, engineer, Union Pacific. And I'm like, I'm not looking hard enough. Everybody I know is really like, I grew up under a rock. My parents, I lived on, you know, I grew up thinking like, you know, people being sexually abused or being, you know, things like that. That was made for kids. That, you know, any serious shit. You know, and I've never had any, but I know now as a adult that there's more people I know than not that have had this happen in their life, and I just haven't. I don't know why. I'm just a shit ass.
No, you're not.
You're not. You would protect it.
You might be a smart ass, but you ain't no shit ass.
I don't.